like this.
Karina Gould on the left.
Because everyone on Sunday, our new prime minister will be Mark Carney. Announced. But it should be Karina Gould because she's actually like progressive. I know, a progressive in a liberal leadership race. Crazy. Which is probably why she was introduced in the English debate like this.
Karina Gould on the left.
Because everyone else in the running is honestly pretty right wing. While other
Yeah, I haven't paid that much attention to like her campaign. Like I saw a couple interviews she did, and the one with was it on the Front Burner on CBC? I think she had actually made like a number of points that I more or less agreed with. Like I don't think there's any of them that I would love. Like I'm just not, a liberal guy. But she, in terms of policy, she's the one that I think would be the closest to like what I would want. Like I do think as Prime Minister, Mark Carney would just be bad. I think he would be worse than Trudeau in a lot of ways, but for whatever reason, I don't think he would be perceived that way by by a lot of people. Like he's gonna be just like a corporate, like even more centrist and right wing than Trudeau. And that's what's gonna happen anyways. So it's like it's almost pointless to talk about. Oh yeah, Karina Gould is actually also in the race and has better policies than that, while also separating himself from Trudeau.
Other candidates, like rich former Goldman Sachs employee Mark Carney, talk about helping Canadians by increasing corporate investment into Canada. Karina talks about affordability for
it is so ridiculous. One of his primary, because all of the candidates are trying to find ways to separate themselves from Trudeau. And Mark Carney isn't necessarily that tied to Trudeau anyway, though there's like some economic advice or whatever. But like one of the first ways that he and Chrystia Freeland decide to try to differentiate themselves is by saying we're gonna scrap the capital gains tax, right? So we are going to lower taxes on the absolute richest people in the country. Great.
Regular Canadians expanding.
Didn't you hear? Congress just passed.
Oh, I love this.
Murder if you're rich.
No, they didn't. Oh my God, they did.
What?
Because it passed the House doesn't mean the Senate.
Really, Diane?
Okay, but the president could still veto.
Really, Diane?
Sure, but the Supreme Court. Okay, I get it.
Didn't you hear?
Yeah, accurate. Oh no, not cut up.
This is your sign to launch your e-commerce. I use Shopify.
Sean Lock is 55, which means if he was a woman, Countdown would have replaced him twice by now. Right, sisters?
Why is it if I don't like Blake Lively, it's completely fine, but if I don't like Meghan Markle for the exact same qualities?
What if your doodles could look like...
Let's think about this. Saying immigrants are criminals and rapists to the point that we are deporting them and sending them to Gitmo, but then turning around and not only welcoming, but embracing the Tate brothers coming to America, who are actually criminals and rapists, is fucking wild. We know that's crazy, right? And now they have the option to buy a $5 million gold card to get U.S. citizenship.
Right, yeah.
These are actual criminals, actual rapists, and we are giving...
Like, I don't think they need the gold card thing, right? Isn't, I think Andrew Tate is an American citizen, right? I'm pretty sure he's a British and American citizen. But yeah, it is. I shouldn't even say it's absurd, right? I want to say it's absurd and it's hypocritical, but like it's not, right? The whole thing for these Republicans and conservatives is being hypocritical, right? That no, they don't mean it in at least talking about like the politicians and pundits and everything, and the sort of like political class establishment. They don't mean any of the things they say about immigrants, right? They don't dislike immigrants because they've thought very deeply and analyzed crime statistics, right? They hate immigrants because specifically they hate immigrants from poor countries and who are racialized because they're racialized and because they hate poor people, and they associate them with being generally bad. Like, that's the reason why they have these policies, right? It doesn't come from some kind of intellectual examination of what should be the right policy. It's just this gut thing of, I'm scared of brown people, or I really hate the poor. Like, that's what it comes from.
Giving them everything they need. See, it was never about immigrants. It was about turning this into a business model. And I think he did a great job. Thanks to everyone that fucking voted for him. There's a word for that. What's it called? Hypocrisy. Yeah. Greed. Yeah. Narcissism. Yeah. Dictatorship. There's so many words that describes that. Let me be clear. From the bottom of
Democrats really had me fooled that MAGA was the one that's in a cult and MAGA was the one that had an echo chamber. Let me show you what a cult and what an echo chamber really looks like.
A cult leader is never wrong. Trump is never wrong. And rather than admit when he fucks something up, you will do everything in your power, jump through every mental hoop to interpret what he actually meant rather than engage with the idea that he could possibly be wrong about something. You do this all the time because you're in a cult. Don't believe me? Here's some examples of you doing that.
The U.S. is not buying Gaza. You guys just don't understand that Trump knows how to play the long game. When Trump said we are going to own Gaza, what he was saying is we are going to own the responsibility of what happened there, and we are going to step in to fix it.
You're in a cult.
Hey, Democrats, here's some shit that ain't true. The fact that you keep trying to tell us who voted for Trump that we voted for him because we thought he was going to lower inflation and lower gas prices and lower the price of eggs. You don't realize how dumb this makes you look. We voted for Donald Trump because we knew what he meant when he said that, not because of the fact that he said it to begin with.
What?
Say it with me. You're in a... That's right, a cult. Move those goalposts all you want. They're in the parking lot at this point. At some point, you need to realize that you got, and you got to leave this fucking cult.
Democrats really had me fooled that MAGA was the one that's in a cult and MAGA was the one that had an echo chamber. Let me show you what a cult and what an echo chamber really.
What the? Want to know what Mr. Global has to say is because I trust his.
Trans women are always puppy girls or cat girls. Me, I'm a mantis shrimp girl.
Test your theory real quick on wealth creation here. So, I'm going to give you two facts. I just want a yes or no answer.
Right, because I'm looking for like a particular video. Not that one. Oh, where's it? I think I saw it on Facebook or Instagram. Let me see if I can find it. Peter Beinart, Israel. No. Oh, where's the freaking video? There it is. There it is. What happens when people turn a state into an idol?
When the practice.
Yeah. So here we go.
What happens when people turn a state into an idol? When the practice of a religion is actually replaced with the practice of, or the notion of, the state being the thing that all the attention should be focused upon.
One of the things I never really understood growing up was why Judaism makes such a big deal of idolatry. It's one of the three cardinal sins in Judaism that you must resist even at the cost of your own life. But I think as I was reading more about ideas about idolatry for this book, I began to think about it more broadly as the worship of anything that is human-made, right? So I'm not saying that to support the state of Israel is idolatry. But I don't think the relationship that the organized American Jewish community has towards the state of Israel is best described as a relationship of support. I think it's better described as a relationship of worship, because support means that there is some external standard by which you say, I support this until this.
Yeah, like I love that he made this point, because like I'd never like thought about it in that way. Like you kind of understand if you're familiar with like the way, especially organized, you know, certain groups like you know, the Anti-Defamation League, or whatever. Right? There's a lot of groups like this, and in Canada, like CIJA is one of them, or B'nai like these kinds of groups, like the comparison to like idolatry, or like really support of Israel being like this really being like this religion, this like secular religion essentially, right, is like really apt, because like all of these claims, like it would be one thing if, okay, you believe like, I understand being very attached to, like, whether it's a country or an organization, or whatever, right? Something that is somewhat attached to your identity, right? But like the idea that everything is about the state, right? So you start everything not with, okay, a state has a purpose, to help people, or keep us safe, or do whatever. But if you start instead from the point, instead of, okay, what can the state do for me? If it's doing good and still has purpose, then we should support it. Like I wouldn't say like for Canada, I'm fairly attached to Canada as a state, or not as a state, but like as a country, and as a national, as a culture, whatever. I think Canada's a great country, and something like worth fighting for. But if it just became a horrible, evil entity,